Welcome to the GAB Talks by the Independent Press Award. I'm your hostess, Gabby Olzak. To participate in the 2025 Book Award competitions, please visit independentpressaward.com and New York City BigBookAward.com. On this episode of the GAB Talks, we have the pleasure of chatting with Dr. Sherrie Poitier-Liscombe, winner of multiple children's and teen categories in both the Independent Press and New York City Big Book Awards for her children's book series, The Adventures of Sherrie and Chubbie. Sherrie is an award-winning author, educator, and counselor with nearly 3 decades of service in Broward County Public Schools in Florida. She also holds a PhD in marriage and family therapy. Sherrie has dedicated her career to empowering students, families, and educators through mentorship, advocacy, and storytelling. As the founder of Poitier Publishing Company and Poitier Wordsmith Academy, Sherrie amplifies diverse voices while nurturing the next generation of writers. Her celebrated children's series, The Adventures of Sherrie and Chubbie, and more recently, the Sherrie and Chubbie Teen Life series, tackle real-world issues such as mental health, self-care, and social challenges, inspiring young people to embrace resilience, faith, and responsibility. Sherrie joins us today from sunny Florida. Congratulations, Sherrie, and welcome to the GAB Talks.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I am so blessed to be here and so excited.
Well, we're blessed to have you, and it's wonderful to see you again. We had a great time this past May during book camp and the annual awards dinner. And I understand, for those folks who don't know, that you're going to be on the front cover of our magazine printed word reviews in the January issue.
Yes, I am so excited. I cannot believe it. I am so overjoyed is not a word to describe.
And well, we can't wait to feature you. And of course, we'll have an article, which I will pen, about Sherrie and your little empire. So let's get started, Sherrie, because we have a lot to cover. First of all, we gave you a bio, and you're a busy woman for sure. What inspired you to pen your first book? Was it in 2017 when you started the series?
2016. My mom had written the book about me when I was probably about 5 or 6 years old. She wanted to have it published back then, but at that time there was no self-publishing. You had to go through a company. I remember her sending the book to several companies trying to get them to publish it. Yeah. And they felt like that there was no audience for it. They didn't think that a little African-American girl would have enough a following, enough of an audience to publish the book. So when I was in college, I decided that, no matter what, because my mom had passed away after my first year.
Oh, sorry.
When I went back for my sophomore year, I went back without her support, without her presence. But I wanted to make sure that one day her dream of, me being in a book would come to pass. So a few years ago, I got some information about how you could self-publish, and somebody had sent me a message on Facebook and said, hey, this is a really great book. You should see if you can get your book published, because I talk about the book all the time, even though it hadn't been published yet. And I finally, I was like, I'm speaking it into existence. So
I love you manifested it.
Yes. So I finally did do that. I got in touch with the company and they helped me publish that book. And so I thought that was the end of the journey. I felt like, I paid homage to my mom. I was so excited. And then people started asking me, okay, when's the next book? Like, this book is amazing. Like, where's the next one? So that's how the Sherrie and Chubbie series
began. And how many are in the series now?
So in the children's part, there are 10.
Okay.
And you get to actually see Sherrie and her crew grow up. And so I have 9 published in the teen series, but I'm working on another one right now. And I'm actually going to have a parent book.
We'll get to that. Wait, hold on. First, I want to get people interested in Sherrie and Chubbie. So tell us about Sherrie and Chubbie. Tell us who they are, and tell us if you ever sneak. You said your mom wrote it about you, so tell us the little bits of your own childhood that are in the adventures.
Okay, so what my mom did, she thought that reading was like extremely important. Like there's no life without reading. And so she would take us to the library all the time. She would always, give me these little quotes. My grandmother would always co-sign and say, yes, these are some of the things that are going to help you be successful in life. And so I said, okay, I'm going to be a nerd. No one's going to ever like me. Like, what in the world? And so you see how driven Sherrie is even as a little child, because that's what was instilled in me, that these are the things that you need to do to be successful.
Yeah.
You see how Sherrie goes through her life. At the time when she first started doing some of the things that she did, I was I was the only child. So in the book, you see how, I am an only child, and I'm one of those people, like, I could befriend anybody. So,
and that's for sure. Folks out there, I can attest to that. Sherrie can be friends with and probably is friends with everyone.
Yes. So you see how I am befriending the animals, because I don't have any friends where I'm at my grandmother's house. And so you actually get to see how I start out, feeling lonely, not really happy. And then I get my first true pet, which is Chubbie. And that's where the Chubbie came from. Yes. And Chubbie is my bestie. And Chubbie and I go through, life. That's what these books are about, is how Chubbie and I go through life. Along the way, we pick up some friends because, eventually, if you are in a school or, you're in a school setting, you're going to meet people and you're going to, have friends. But
yeah,
a lot of the stuff that you see in the book is my personality from day one. I call myself a hope whisperer. Like, people who come to me are always coming with some type of issue or some type of something going on in their life where they feel kind of hopeless. And
you're definitely optimistic.
Yes. And so like, I tell people you are unstoppable all the time. That's one thing.
So, the Adventures of Sherrie and Chubbie and the teen series, they tackle so many issues that are really, that are very real and relevant to children and teens. And Sherrie, you've been a counselor and an educator for nearly 30 years. How has a long time, that sounds a lot. Saying that out loud, right?
I look really young, people.
You look fabulous, actually. How has your personal faith and life journey influenced these stories that you create?
So what I try to do is allow people to see that even though we are going through things, everybody's going to go through things. That's something that is unavoidable. But what we have to always be able to do is look at where we are, where we want to go, and then make steps to move toward it. And that's what her faith does. It gives her the strength to actually form a plan and move forward. So I try to tackle issues that I know that the kids that I work with are dealing with. Like, all of my characters are my former students. And some of the stories.
Were they?
Yes, they are my former students. So on the audiobooks that you hear, you actually hear them, in real life. They're voicing their own character. Like, I voice Sherrie and they voice whoever they are. So when you see Sierra or Lonnie, like, that's the true Lonnie that I had when I was counseling in high school. So we try to, like I say, tackle issues that a lot of times our kids are dealing with, but they're very silent. Like, they're being bullied, but they're not, saying anything because snitching is not good.
Right.
Or they're dealing with depression, but they don't know that they're depressed. They know they're sad, but they think, okay, I'm sad. And their parents is like, oh, you can't be sad forever. Get over it.
Yeah.
A lot of times they've gone past sadness and now they're into depression, and something needs to be done about it. So that's where I start working with the mental health books and just trying to get people to understand that there's nothing wrong with getting help. Like,
right.
You all need help. I tell people, if you don't believe me, let your husband or your wife do something you don't like. And the first thing you want to do is what? You call your girlfriend or your friend. Or you go out with your friends, and then what you do is vent about it. I said that's what mental health is. It's talking through what you're going through to get to the other side of it.
A lot of the themes that you talk about, you weave the themes like respect, citizenship, tolerance, honesty, faith, perseverance. How do you weave all of those themes into a story without making it feel preachy? Because it doesn't. These are young readers, and they, as we know, we're both educators, that young readers have a very short attention span. So how do you keep them engaged? How do you balance that entertaining stories while also teaching these really important lessons about faith and perseverance?
So the first thing I can say is I pray and I ask the Lord to give me what I'm going to say. I want him to speak through me, because I know that that's the only way I will connect with everybody I'm supposed to connect with. And then the second thing I do is I use relatable stories, like stories that actually happen to myself or my students, stories that I've seen in real life and how I've helped kids get through it. And so I know that a lot of times preachers preach, and, I'm not a preacher. So that's, I think, the reason why it doesn't sound preachy when it comes from me.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, I'm more of a let's talk about it. I feel like anything can be talked about, addressed, and talked through. So what I do is I keep that in mind, and I think about the ways that I got the kids that I've worked with to engage, participate in what I'm trying to do, and move forward. And then I give them a chance to tell me, if this were you, how would this help you? What could I do to help you? And I give them an opportunity to give me their input. That way I know it's going to connect with the students that are out there, because it's already connected. And
it's already connected.
Yeah. So I got a little cheat code, like they say in the gaming world. I got a little cheat code because I've actually lived through all of these things. And the other thing too is I really loved Fat Albert as a kid. Like I loved
Me too. That was one of my favorite shows.
Right. And I realized that he taught us to be good kids without telling us to be good. So
you know what? He showed us.
Right. I go out of my way to demonstrate how to deal with depression, rather than saying, oh, don't be depressed. In the books, you'll never read anything that says don't do this.
Right.
Because again, that's not going to help anybody. Just like you said, you don't want it to sound like you're telling them. I'm disguising therapy with talk. We're just talking. That's all we're doing. We're talking.
In fact, Sherrie, share with folks out there who are listening to us. You walk the walk and talk the talk. Share what you do on a daily basis and how this connects to your books.
So for the last 20, what is it? They said 28.5 years. So for the last 28.5 years, I've worked in the public school system. So I started out as a science teacher. And the funny thing is that I knew from birth I was going to do that. Like I've been teaching kids since I could talk, basically. So I actually have been a science teacher. And then a few years after, I realized that the kids needed somebody to talk to, and they were taking up all my classroom time talking. And I was like, okay, this is not where I'm supposed to be. So then I went back to school to become a guidance counselor at that time. And so I started out being a guidance counselor in the middle school and then in the high school. And then I moved to the Department of Juvenile and Justice Involved Youth. So for about 8 or 9 different locations in Broward County, I was a school counseling director for all of those students. So if they became involved, whether they got, placed in a residential program or placed in the Department of Juvenile Justice Detention Center, I was the person who ensured that the counselors worked with the students to help them still stay engaged in school and still be able to move forward. And so about 2 years ago, I transferred to the foster care department. So now if a kid is placed in foster care or they're being reunified with their parents from foster care, I'm the school counseling director that tells ChildNet and the courts what school the student should attend so that they can, matriculate.
Amazing. Sherrie, I don't know what we would do without folks like you. So, I guess it's fair to say then Sherrie and Chubbie, you are the main inspiration for that. Thank you. But the TV series, it sounds like your students and what you experience in all of your jobs as an educator is really what inspired you to tackle issues like depression, social media, mental health, and really talk to these teenagers.
Yes, because a few years ago there were a lot of suicides here in the Deerfield area. We had kids who were jumping in front of trains, ending their life because they were felt like they were being bullied, they were depressed. They just felt like there was no other way out of what they were going through. And that didn't sit well with me. You know, my books at the time were just about kids and, you know, dealing with issues that kids face. And I said, you know, I can't sit back and not do anything. I can't, you know, stop every kid from committing suicide because I don't have connections with every kid. But if I pen a story that shows them how they can get out of what they're in without suicide, then that's what I can do. And so that's what I've been trying to do for the last few years, is reach like the world and tell them that there are other choices. There are better choices. There's prayer. A lot of kids don't realize that prayer is a coping skill. Yeah. It is a cultural background coping mechanism that people use. A lot of times we try to do things, and if it doesn't work out, then we use prayer as a last resort. It's like, okay, I'm going to have to call the Lord now because I can't do it. But what Sherrie does is she shows them that there's nothing wrong with trying to do things the way society does do it through mental health services, but she always has her opportunity to get on her knees and pray. And so in every book, I always have at least one image of her faith, because that is what her strongest weapon against what's going on in this world is, her prayer.
Sherrie, can you show us a picture of Sherrie in the book? I want folks to see the illustrations.
Oh, yes.
So
the greatest thing is,
what's been the response from your students about the teen series and Sherrie?
Oh man, they love it so much. They're always talking about it. They're always saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe you have these books." So this page is actually in the book 2 of tolerance. And as you can see, that these students are of different backgrounds.
Yes, the diversity is very important in all your books. And I love that.
Yeah, so that everyone feels like they could connect to the characters in the story.
Right, right.
Some of the times the kids do not deal with other kids because they feel they're too different. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, they're not so different that you cannot relate to them. I said that kids all have similar problems, issues, and situations, but that doesn't mean just because they're from a different background that you can't work together to try to figure out what's going on. And what I've tried to do with the teen series is not only have the kids responsible. I wanted to show you the little where, you know, praise. Yeah. And then Chubbie always prays with her because that's her best.
So Sherrie, how do you hope? I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I was going to ask you, how do you hope that your books shape the next generation of leaders? Because I know that's really an important concept and issue to you.
So what I hope it does is informs them that there are ways to be who you want to be. Like, my main goal in my career is to help kids get to their purpose. I tell people that you have breath in your body because God has need of you. And when your mission is done, then he can release you back. But until that time, you have things you need to do. And what you can't do is allow the world and what's going on in the world to get in the way of what you're supposed to be doing. So that's what I try to focus on in every one of the books. I try to get everyone to see that, you know, people deal with things differently. They experience different things. But the one thing we have in common is that every day you wake up is another day for you to be able to address it. And I want this to be something that is preparing them to take the helm, because a lot of times we have kids who are very selfish. They're only concerned about what's going on with them. They're not looking to, okay, I'm a part of this big conglomerate of this society. If you don't realize that you're giving not for you, because sometimes they think that what they have and what they can do is all about them and making them money and making them be able to have a good career. And it's not about that. It's about being responsible to your community. And so that's what I try to focus on, that we have these gifts and these talents and these abilities, and with them comes responsibility. And that responsibility is to ensure that the people that come behind you have a life too. Like, I'm laying groundwork for people to be able to take over from where I left off to move to the next level. I want to, when I leave here, I want everyone to feel like, you know what? I'm glad she was here because it helped me to be able to do what I'm supposed to do now. So that's what I'm really trying to do, is get people to, just be responsible for what's going on in their community. Instead of complaining about it, do something about it.
And to pay it forward.
Yes.
And to pay it forward. So, Sherrie, I know it was real important to your mom and also very important to you to foster that love of reading and writing. What advice would you give aspiring young writers who want to share their own stories?
So what I would do is definitely look around at what is already out there, because if there's a book inside of you, it is a need out there that you can only feel. Like, no one else can feel it. It's for you to feel. So what you need to do first is look around out there, what's going on. Think about what your life has to offer. Think about what you want to do. Like, some of the books, like the book, that I'm doing next, is because somebody asked me to write a book about getting their kid to do what they want them to do.
Quite simply, just...
Yes, I want my kid to do what I want. So can you write a book about that? And I started to laugh because at the time it was like God started speaking to me instantly about what I needed to do next. So if there's a book that he has for you, it's going to come to you. And then what you need to do is find someone to help you work through it. Sometimes we want to save money. We don't want to pay somebody to help us. And then we go and try to do it on our own. The one thing is, my first 3 books are beautiful, but they were a tremendous debt because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't research. I just went with the first person who said, "Oh, I can do it." And I ended up doing that. And that's another reason why I started my own publishing company, so that I could have hands in everything, because I wanted my stories to be told my way. I want my pictures to look my way. I've had people and companies come and say, "Hey, we like your book. We want to help you publish." And I was like, no, because then you want control over it. And I'm like, mm-mm. So what I'm going to do is definitely research first. When you are getting into it, you need to definitely figure out exactly what you want to do with the book. What is the reason for the book? And definitely put some money away, because it's going to cost money. And what you don't want to do is start the work and make it disjointed by having to stop because you don't have the money.
Advice. No, it's great advice. So okay, let's get into new projects that you're working on. You said you're working on.
Yeah, so my editor and proofreader is working on a book that was requested. And partially I know why they requested it from me, because I'm probably, I find myself like gaining so much spiritual, like, I want to say like ease and clearness because of the book. But it's called the Adventures of Sherrie and Chubbie, Divorce, and it was supposed to be the blended family, but I call it the new family.
Okay, I like that.
People, that's what people feel like when their parents divorce and they move on to, one parent moves on and either they are with a family that already has other children. I know I always talk about the Brady Bunch. They made us feel like, blended families were cool.
Yeah.
Because you know how fun it was. And it's
a lot.
Well, that's not the normal idea of how it actually works. And so I've put 3 different characters who are experiencing a new family in different ways, just teenagers. But now Sherrie and her group have become like little peer counselors. And so they create a support group for kids who are, I know people don't like to say it, but they're victims of divorce because they are the kids who are separated from their parents. They're the kids who are fought over. They're the kids who feel abandoned. But
it can be a traumatic situation for sure.
Right. And adults don't do anything about it because they feel divorce is an adult problem. And it's not. It's a family problem. It's a disconnect problem. And it can be an abandonment problem if it's not handled properly. So
when is that? When is that suitable?
I'm hoping that the proofreader promised me it'll be ready next week. So I've already sent it off to the illustrator. So
that's exciting.
My teen books, I only do a cover and then one picture because I know the teens, they don't want to see all those pictures.
Right. It's not a picture book. Exactly.
It's a kid's book if they have too many pictures. Yeah. So I'm hoping by the end of this month, it will be on the shelves. I'm pretty sure it will be. The only thing that could stop that from happening is if, nothing's going to stop that from happening. So the end of this month.
We'll pray on that and make sure that it gets through. Sherrie, if you could leave one lasting message with every child who reads your books, what would it be?
That every child has a purpose, and that purpose is something that only you can do. If you don't do it, yes, God will find another way, but he shouldn't have to. And so there's no reason for you to feel fearful or doubtful or feel like your life doesn't matter, because it does. And other people are in need of what you have. So I'm hoping that these books do open their eyes to that fact, and that anytime they feel like, you know what, I'm going through so much, this can't possibly be true, there's no hope, that they will open the book and reread it again to help them build that hope, because that's what Sherrie is meant to do. She's meant to speak hope into every life that she has the opportunity to speak hope into.
Well, thank you, Sherrie. The series are both beautiful. We look forward to your next book. You offer prints, audio editions, and now you have some coloring books too. So where can folks, right? I love that. Where can folks find and purchase your books and connect with you? Because you have an awful lot to share.
Okay, so the books are definitely on Amazon.
Okay.
If you do a search either by my name, or you can do a search by The Adventures of Sherrie. And once you spell my name properly with the RRIE, all the books will come up.
Excellent.
Yeah, and that's the books and the coloring books. And then I have a website, and it's The Adventures of Sherrie and Chubbie. So that is really simple and easy for people to find. And I actually have a doll now. Sherrie has her own doll.
Wow.
Yes, because I want kids to see reading as fun. I want them to climb up on their bed with I got a little pillow.
Companion.
Yeah, so they can put the little pillows. I have blankets. They can get under their blanket, pull out that book, and sit right by their Sherrie doll. Because I feel like everybody should have a little Sherrie in their life.
I agree. I agree with that. This was so much fun, Sherrie. Thank you so much for joining us. And I hope we see you next spring at book camp and the awards dinner again.
Yes, I will. Because this one just won distinguished favorite. I found out.
Yes.
Woo!
Congratulations. It wouldn't be the same fact, Sherrie, if you weren't there. And we'll be proud on that. Can't wait. So this was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate the time, and I appreciate all you all have done you don't know how much you have encouraged me to continue. Sometimes in your own area, you don't get the recognition or the applause or the anything to kind of like just give you that, when things are tough. Yeah. And you all have done a tremendous job with making me see how much my work is out there and is helping.
It is helping, and you're important, and we appreciate everything you do, Sherrie. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Take care. This is your hostess, Gabby Olzak of the GAB Talks. Until next time, keep on reading.